there's no better, whether it's business or whether it's a relationship, there's no better situation than to get a referral. Hey, I've got some business for you. Hey, I've got a girl for you. So in many ways, being a female relationship coach, or would you kind of call yourself?
Attraction
being an
coach.
attraction coach, I think is a great thing. But I'm going to give you kind of like my perspective. I think that men know what men want more than women do. And I'm going to hear what you have to say about this. So as an example, anytime a girl, and I'm Jewish, so I appreciate you being Jewish, especially Jewish girls, anytime a girl is like, I've got the perfect girl for you. I want to set you up with a friend. Oh, Adam, I've got a girl for you.
Oh my God, don't.
It's always failure. Always.
Yes.
They're never that hot. They're never that cool. Because friends, like, I don't know, women just kind of mischaracterize what a guy is looking for. On the flip side, anytime my dude is like, hey, bro, I got a chick that's in town. You should meet her. Always game on. Because guys know what guys want. They're always like, yeah, bro, she's got this, she's got this. Like, I'm like, what's up? Like, and they know, like, all right, I walk in, I'm like, yo, bro, good call. But anytime a girl tries to do that referral, I'm like, what are you thinking? Like,
I know.
Why would
Well, usually it's just because they have their one female friend, and they're like, who can I pair them up with? They're not really thinking about
so
what
so
would
that's
actually
essentially
make them
my
match.
question. And even like, you talked about Fresh and Fit. They basically had a quote. They said, men shouldn't take game advice from women because women don't understand the male experience and they give you sort of politically correct fairy tale nonsense advice. So is there some truth to this? And what are your thoughts on this concept?
Yeah, there's absolutely truth to it. But it's actually, like my perspective, it's a little bit different. Women give you advice because what they're perceiving is somebody, or what they're responding to is somebody they're already attracted to, right? So when they say things like, just be confident, or just be nice, or just make her laugh, or whatever it is, they're envisioning themselves already being attracted to a guy and then saying, here's what you would need to do. Not from the perspective of like, she's not into you yet. How do you finesse this so that she becomes attracted? So if you had better questions for women, they would probably be able to give you that information, because that's what I base my business on. My business originated from just interviewing women and pushing them to give honest responses rather than surface level responses that they give to most people. So I 100% agree with it. It's just coming from a different place of, you're asking the wrong question and they're answering from a different perspective.
So since you agree with me, which I thought you'd maybe give me some pushback, let me maybe sort of like, so how do you go about kind of separating yourself from being a woman, a very actually feminine woman, despite, I think you're very feminine, despite you being a boss, CEO, like all that kind of good stuff. How are you able
because
to
you're hearing me. That's why I'm so feminine.
I'm listening. This is this very attractive quality that I have. Like, listen. How are you able to kind of step out of your female, feminine point of view and enter more into a masculine point of view, masculine mindset to better understand your clients? Because your clients, 100% of them are men for the most part, right?
Yeah.
So how are you able to do that?
Well, I think because I've had, first of all, this is just, I happen to be somebody who is in tune, and I've always been intuitive with human beings. But the more that I work with men, the more I get a better understanding of where they're coming from and the information that they need. So even for myself, like the advice that I used to give to my female friends was like, oh, you don't deserve him or whatever, like just blow him off. What I gave very female advice to my friends. But as I started working with more men and understanding their perspective and where they were coming from, my advice started to shift from they don't deserve this to, yeah, men don't really work that way. Here's how they work, and here's why what you're doing isn't resonating with them. So I think really it's just over time having more experience with men, hearing what it is that they need, and then adjusting my advice and my guidance based on their needs so they can understand. And it hasn't been
let me
easy.
ask you this,
It's
Marty.
hard.
So since you're saying like your advice has shifted, and obviously we kind of circled back about how like if you don't have growth, if you're not learning, like then you're kind of just like you're dying. You're kind of just like you're not having that growth mindset. What advice has changed from 17 years ago, Marnie, a decade plus ago, Marnie, of what you understood about men or what you would tell men about women versus now? Like, is there something you can pinpoint? Like, I used to tell men that women, or I used to tell women this, and now it's like, I would know this is what it is now. What do you think
I
that
think
is?
it's the way that I advise that's different. Like before, again, it was very black and white. It's like women don't want this, women don't want that, or do this and that will happen. Where now I feel like I give much more context to it, and I try to explain the different ways, the nuance behind it. I know that's not really giving you much of an answer, but I think it's just a much more well educated. But to be honest, sometimes I do feel like that my more educated version of my advice may not be as beneficial as the advice that I was giving when I was 23 or 25 or 27.
Because it was more black and white?
Yeah.
Because it was less nuanced. You're like, do this, don't do this. Do that, don't do
yes,
this.
Yes.
So you're saying your advice was better back then than it is now?
I don't know if it's better. I just think that now it's more finessed and it can speak to more people, but I think it was probably easier to consume the advice that I share when I was younger, which is why I wrote down all of my advice back then. And that's the part of the digital program. So they can get that advice as well as the more nuanced, educated version of me watching my videos or listening to my podcast or listening to me right now.
So if you like that clip, click right here to watch another. Or if you want to watch the entire Soscast, click right here.